Hey everybody, I am Katrina from In Cat We Trust, and this is another one of my movie reviews. This video, I will be reviewing F9, which is Fast and Furious 9 of the Fast Saga. But before I give you my thoughts and opinions on the movie, please click the notification bell to get notifications of any new videos I have, interviews, etc. So, subscribe and all that good stuff. Now, I waited some time to watch F9 because I'm at a place with this saga where I'm not really sure what's happening with regards to my feelings about it. I liked the Fast and Furious series overall until about Fast 5. Fast 6, Fast and Furious 6, I don't remember what it's called right now, but it wasn't like terrible, but I would have been okay if they would have ended it at 5. I did like the first Fast and Furious, and then Too Fast, Too Furious. And Tokyo Drift, I only liked it because of Song Kang, aka Han, because Han is Bae. So he died in Tokyo Drift, and then they magically brought him back, and then they insisted that every movie after I think 3, 4, and 5 and 6 is before Tokyo Drift as far as timeline appearances. So he makes all the movies that he was in from 5 and 6 and his slight appearance with the little mini movies they had between 3 and 4, which is Tokyo Drift, and 4 when Letty dies, was supposed to be Han's prequel before he went to Tokyo, etc., etc. So when I saw that Han was coming back, now don't get me wrong, I was hype in the beginning because Han is Bae. He's my favorite character, and not only that I find him attractive, and it's not even that, it's just like I love characters in general that is just super laid back and chill. I like a character that you do just what you need to do without being over the top. That's one of the reasons why I don't like Tyrese's character. Though I do like Tess, aka Ludacris. I like his character. Tyrese is just way too doing the most. And I'm like, what are you here besides being a loudmouth and being mad annoying and crying about everything? So I don't really like his character, but I was, acceptable of all the other characters we got. But Han is my favorite. So I saw Han was coming back, and I'm like, yes, but wait a minute. How can you guys make this make sense? So in the beginning of the movie, let me clarify, this will be some spoilers if you have not watched it by now. So I will be talking about a couple of spoilers. So in the beginning of the movie, we see Dom as a young child a teenager watching his father have a race at a racetrack, and his father dies, and then you see him sad and crying, and then we're put back to which is present time for the movie. Dom and Letty and his son Paul, which was named Paul in number 8 after the mom died, and he named it Paul, which we all knew was a reference to Paul Walker, who passed away as well. But I was just like, for storyline purposes, Brian's character is not gone. Paul Walker is, but Brian's character is not gone. So why are we naming the child Paul? Why get it was for the fans and yay? It just doesn't make sense with regards to the movie. So I was kind of annoyed by that because I'm like, I get fan service, but fan service should be when it's necessary and it makes sense, not just because, well, let's throw it in there. So that already irritated me for number 8. So they showed them on some farm thing, and the car comes up, and it's, Ludacris and Tyrese characters saying that Kurt Russell's character had a mission for them, and they sent this only for them. And then we see that the reason why the message was only sent for Dom and his team was because we now are introduced to Dom's brother Jacob, who is John Cena is playing. Now, another thing I had with this, outside of the wrestling jokes about you can't see me, so that's why we didn't see John Cena this whole time, was Dom's whole stick for all of this and all the movies and how important family is. Family, 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 family. So why the hell did I not know he had... I just y'all could have at least gave some little Easter eggs, some little crumbs leading up to this movie to suggest that there was another family member. We knew about his sister Bia. Letty was his ride or die girl, his wife now. I knew nothing about Jacob. And even though they explained why Jacob was gone all this time, I was just like, so even so, we're gonna ignore that part when all Dom ever talked about in all these movies was family, 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 and now magically family is just okay, I guess. I guess. So we see Jacob introduce Jacob Toretto, and he's pretty much like this spy, and he's like getting this device that if two pieces are together can cause like all types of world destruction, etc., etc. So you see in the beginning of the movie, they all decide to go, and you see Dom talking to his, like, Letty decides to go. She was like, this is family. I got this. And then you see, like, Dom talking to his son in the beginning, and then the son is, like, he made it to the airport in time. So I'm like, so F your son, huh? Like, we're just going to ignore that part. And what annoyed me even more was when Mia makes an appearance and he's like, well, she has two kids now. Her and Brian's characters have two children. And then you have Dom and Dom's child. And so she's like, oh, Brian is watching the kids. And I'm like, so we're going to ignore all of the time before then where Brian was so protective of Mia and Dom was so protective of Mia that Mia is the one sitting here doing missions and Brian just like, you know what, this time it's okay if you get hurt, Mia. I'm gonna watch the kids and I'm gonna watch, my nephew, and it's all good because you could be a danger. And I'm just like, while I understand logically you cannot put Brian's character because Paul Walker is deceased, we did not necessarily need Mia because Mia was really not integral and not a part of the movie at all. Yes, that was her, Jacob's her brother too, I guess. But maybe at the end, if you want to have them show up, the family dinner sequence that every movie ends with now, we could have had that. We did not need Mia, we didn't need her in the movie. She did nothing that important that would have changed the story that she was needed. And I just found it really hard to believe that Brian's character would be okay with Mia doing God knows what when he was so protective and Dom was so protective of her character for all these movies. I was like, oh, we're going to just ignore clear character traits. Okay, I guess. Then we see them like at one point they were like chasing Jacob's car, and Dom did something where his car got like attached to one of the bridge like ropes or whatever you want to call it, and his car just like boomerang to the other side. I'm like, so we okay. I was already like this the suspension of disbelief was already stretched when cars was like doing high flying spots through buildings, just one building, whoops, to the next building. And I was already suspending my disbelief a bit, and that was hard. That was really hard to do. I'm like, this raggedy bridge? We gonna just okay. All right. I mean, I guess Justin Lin, and Justin Lin's cool dude and everything. Like, he's a good director, but I'm like, I get that y'all wanted to move away from the car racing aspects and make this more like action and stuff. But come on, and like, it's different if you got like a one guy themselves doing all types of action sequences. Like we had Sylvester Stallone, or we had John Claude Van Damme, Jackie Chan, where they're doing specific like action sequences. But we're doing this with cars. I'm supposed to be okay. And then we see the homies from Tokyo Drift. We see Bow Wow, which you know how I feel about Bow Wow. And the other guy that I'm sorry, forgive me if I don't remember his name, and Lucas Black's character. And Lucas Black character irked my soul in Tokyo Drift. I just wanted him to die and take the girlfriend too, because they were just really irritating my soul. And I was just really upset that Han paid the price for that. And even though they gave this really convoluted version of why Han didn't die, I didn't feel like I guess they were necessary to have the whole sequence when Ludacris and Tyrese characters go into space with a car. Now I was just like, are we gonna ignore that they're usually like things you need for a car, for anybody to go in space in general? So this car just happened to have all the things necessary to be in space, and I'm supposed to buy that. This seems logical. Okay, Fast and Furious. Okay, so let's talk about my guy Han. Now, Han, like I said, Han is life. I was very sad with when Han passed. Jason Statham went on my list when they made him responsible for Han's death. Because I'm like, first of all, Jason Statham, you cool and all, but you are not Han. Let's not. But don't be raggedy. You would be raggedy. And so he was on my list. So when I saw that Han came back, I was like, I guess I could take you off my list. When I put actors on my list, I'm just like, no matter what movie, I just like, ew, I don't want to watch the movie. I hope your character dies in the movie because how dare you. That's usually what happened. I put people on my list. Like Danny Glover was on the list. He will still be on the list probably forever because color purple. And Christian Bale made my list when he was in the racist guy in Shaft. And I was like, Batman saved him because he was on the list. And I was like, oh, first of all, you don't be racist. I'm supposed to be like, okay. So I felt like every role Christian Bale did after that, I was like skeptical until I watched Batman. And he redeemed himself as he got the list. So Jason Statham was on my list until I saw Han was coming back. I was like, okay, I guess I can remove you from my list. So they explained that supposedly Kurt Russell's character saved Han. Even though if you look at Tokyo Drift for how close up they were in Han's face, when the car blows up. I don't know what second, 2 or 3 seconds they had to get Han out the car. But I guess. So, Kurt Russell's character saved Han. And pulled him out and made like he was dead and pretended he was dead and let everybody think he's dead. And he was pretty much also working with the things that Jacob Toretto was looking for as well. And then we see Han apparently became adoptive dad. And I'm like, okay, well, that's nice because, I didn't think he would ever move on because, Giselle, the woman he loved in the series, died, even though technically how did she die and then come back? But everybody else coming back and everything's supposed to be fine. Logic, right? So after all these outlandish action sequences where things are blowing up and car parts are blowing up and you just see Dom on the middle of all that, I was like, bro didn't get not one scratch. Like the thing went past his face. Bro got no slit from the explosion. He got no scratches or bleeding or cuts. You know who got cuts by the end of the movie though? I was highly upset about Han. I'm like, Han didn't even do as much action as Dom did. He did a lot less work than Dom did, and yet magically he was the only one injured. I'm like, so we're gonna just have the one homie that I appreciate. I guess. Whatever, if that works. And then just super, I'm like, so these former criminals, because we gotta call a spade a spade. These were former criminals that was able to redeem themselves by helping The Rock in number 6, I believe. So before we got the spin-off with Hobbs and Shaw, they helped them out and their records were clean, etc., etc., etc. These were criminals though. So it's like, you guys just know all types of action sequences. Y'all just know all types of kung fu and fighting styles that you guys, we're going to ignore you guys got your ass kicked before. You guys just keep figuring out all types of stuff to do. These cars know how to do everything. I'm supposed to just, it was just so ridiculous. And I'm just like, we're just not going to kick. And then, so I knew they was gonna play the Jacob and Dom would be brothers and happy kumbaya at the end, which they were. And I'm just like, are we really still gonna keep up with this? Supposedly there's 2 or 3 more, and I'm just like, but why? It really should have ended at 5, maybe 6 if you want to confirm why Han died, and then leave it alone. Having Brian stay home and be a stay-at-home dad all of a sudden, and this is nothing to stay-at-home dad. I think if your wife wants to work and do and shine and be the boss that she is, great. But it does not go in line with Brian because they did that whole sequence of Dom and Brian having 2 very separate lives. Oh, we're not doing no more adventures together, and tie up the fact that Paul Walker died. Now Mia just popping up, just doing all. I'm like, are we? Fuck the kids, huh? Just F those kids, I guess. I'm just really just by the end of the movie, I was really just irritated. And I'm like, you know what, Justin Lin? You cool and all, but why are we doing this? And I feel like they keep making them because people are watching them, but I'm just like, why? This just doesn't make any sense. This car, somebody should have died in one of these sequences. There was a scene, I believe, with, in the very beginning, and Tyrese was in this tank, and there was, minefields, and he, not only did the minefield go off, but then the car truck, landed directly, and he somehow survived that. And why he mentioned, are we, invincibles? Are we special because we keep getting past these scenarios and nothing happened to us? And I'm like, Yeah, but it's ridiculous because it's like I get not wanting to kill people off because you brought back Letty. Remember, Letty died too, and you brought back Letty and say she just had like some kind of memory wipe and didn't remember anything. And now Han's back, and I'm like, so is Giselle gonna pop back up because sis technically should have survived the fall. Like she fell while the plane was still on the tarmac, and like she fell. She should have been hurt, but she shouldn't have been dead. Especially since Jason Statham's brother, Luke Evans' character, because I can't think of his name in number 6, he was there. He survived number 7. He popped up helping Jason Tatum. So I'm like, if everybody else can survive, where the hell is Giselle? Because everybody else just surviving. So I know she's Wonder Woman now and all that good stuff, but where her ass? Because if everybody else survived all types of craziness, just all types of insanity, the Giselle better pop up back in the crew until Han can be happy. Because let my homie be happy. Because y'all have everybody else get back together and love and yay, happiness. Where's Han's happiness, my guys? Where? I'm sorry, I just know I ranted right now, but I was just so irritated with everything. So, with that being said, I don't even know where I would rate this movie because it was just so ridiculous. And I was trying to keep an open mind about everything because I did like the first 5 at least, but I don't know. I feel like this would probably be a 2.5 because a lot of it just didn't make any sense. I was like, I get that action movies are supposed some things are a bit like, really though, but this was too insane. And then cars was involved, and I'm like, y'all trying to act like I don't know cars are heavy as shit. Like, are we really? So anyway, I'm probably gonna give this movie a 2.5 if I'm rating it out of 5. If I'm rating it out of 10, maybe a 4. I didn't understand. It was nice to see Han again, though, even though the sequences when it was supposed to be younger Han, they didn't even try to blend the wig in. But I was like, Han hair Sung Kang's hair is currently long, and I'm like, y'all couldn't just wait for guy to just grow his hair out a bit. Y'all had to put this really raggedy wig on, like there was no type of like blending happening, and I'm supposed to buy that. I was just so irritated, but it was nice to see Han. Like that's my, I love Han. And, you guys tell me if you watched it or not. And what are your thoughts? How do you feel about the characters? Could you really, believe half the stuff that was happening in the movie? I want to thank you again for watching, as you always do. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you guys next time.